and welcome to Research and Chats. My name is Chinwe. As you can probably tell, I'm really excited, and that's because the topic for today is one that I am passionate about, and I think that's a really important one. So today we'll be discussing teenage pregnancies and the issues that surround it. Our guest is Dr. Anthony, who is a research scientist at the African Population and Health Research Center. So that's APHRC. They are based in Kenya. So Dr. Anthony will discuss their research on these issues over the years and talk about some opportunities there are to profile solutions. So I hope that you watch, learn, and are entertained, because at the end of our talk, we play a game. So fingers crossed. Let's talk to Dr. Anthony. Hi, Dr. Anthony. So could you tell us a bit more about yourself and the kind of research that you do?
Let me first of all start by saying thank you, Chinwe, for bringing me on to speak on your inaugural session. As you rightly introduced me, my name is Anthony Ajayi. And I'm a researcher. I've been doing research for more than 10 years now. If I don't want to count my undergraduate research work as part of research. And I've done research generally on sexual and reproductive health, but primarily on HIV and adolescent sexual and reproductive health.
Okay.
Done a little bit of policy evaluation, evaluating the maternal healthcare policy in Nigeria. In fact, that was what my PhD centered on. So, but over the past 3 years, I think, most of my research have focused on adolescent sexual and reproductive health. And I've looked at the host of issues among this group of girls. Just some points in particular.
Okay. But what strikes you about this particular area you've decided to focus on? Why is it so important to you? There are many things you could be researching about, but what is it about adolescent sexual and reproductive health for you?
Okay, there are so many issues on sexual and reproductive health in general. Okay, and all of them are interrelated. But why adolescents is probably what I want to speak to. A friend of my friend's sister died as a result of a botched abortion many years ago. She died at 16 years. And that sort of explains the need for more attention to this group of girls. One of the main drivers of mortality and mobility among young girls is actually pregnancy. And only in Africa do you have 50% of abortion-related mortality happening among young people. So, and like as I said, even many of the listeners will probably be able to relate to someone that died as a result of pregnancy. But it's even more shocking when it happens to, say, a 16-year-old that's just starting their life. So, but again, if you look at the way we view sexuality in Africa, people don't want to talk about sex, especially to young people. Sex is considered to require adult maturity, so a young age shouldn't be having sex. But again, it sort of denies the fact that young people are also growing. They reach puberty, their body is growing, they seek to understand their body, and most of their friends date and sex happen, even though they don't want to talk about it. So some of them engage in sex. But what you see is that many of them are not ready, both in terms of preventing diseases or pregnancy, and many fall pregnant along the line. And in an attempt to cover it up, they seek abortion, which we know again is also not, we know that it's banned in Africa. So it means that you can't walk into clinic to seek abortion legitimately, so you have to go through the back streets, and then it has no morbidity and mortality. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm keen about adolescent sexual and reproductive health. We want all people in general, especially all young people, to be able to reach their potential and not fall through the crack by just falling victims of easily preventable or avoidable deaths. So that's what drives my interest. It's a personal story, like I've shared my friend's story. It's really something personal for me.
Yeah, but you know what? I think it's very interesting how that sometimes what we decide to research about is, it's probably something that's happened to us personally or to somebody around us. And then we just want to find out more about this thing. We want to solve like a potential problem. We don't, in your case, you do not want another young girl to die from pregnancy. And it's really interesting. Again, it buttresses the fact that researchers are constantly seeking solutions to societal problems. And in your case, it's something that's happened to someone related to you. So well done for that. So this article you have, I want you to explain to us, again, I understand that you've explained the importance of adolescent health, but what's this thing about women or young women getting pregnant? Why is it on the increase? Why have you linked it to power relations, gender issues? I really want you to explain it and break it down, because here's the thing, while people might observe these things and say, oh yeah, probably she can't negotiate, blah, 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 we need to understand what the researchers are finding. What is it you're saying? How is this a reflection of societal problems?
I previously said that in our own context, sex is reserved for adults. Yeah, so young people are not supposed to be having sex, and that's the first problem. Because that's one of the main reasons we are seeing so many unintended pregnancies. Because in the paper you speak about, for most of the girls, they reported unplanned pregnancy. Of course, many of them were just dating for the first time. The only reason they got pregnant was because they didn't know how to, protect themselves. And there are many ways of protecting yourself, right? You can use a condom. If you don't want to use condom, you can use other pills and all that. But more importantly, they can also use after-sex contraception like postinol and things of that nature. But again, knowledge precedes use. If you don't have knowledge of all this and know which one is safe and which one could, again, pregnancy is much dangerous for you than, say, using contraceptive as a young person anyway. So it's actually, number one, lack of knowledge of contraceptive, misconception around contraceptive played a critical role. But beyond that, you can also notice issues of poverty. Many of these girls, are dating older guys in anticipation that they will probably get some resources to take care of their own needs. And then along the line, before pregnant. Of course, when you're in such a relationship, there's power imbalance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then because of the power imbalance, and because you're also expecting money, it makes you even weaker in the relationship. So, and then add that with the dose of lack of knowledge of after-sex contraception that you can easily do to prevent pregnancy. Then it just gives you a formula for disaster that young girls get pregnant. Many carry the pregnancy to term, many don't, and they try all kinds of things. If you've been following abortion research in particular, you will see that people become so desperate that they insert sharp objects into their uterus, because nobody would perform the abortion for them, and just attempting to do it. And there are so many examples around us. So, but beyond that, maybe the least spoken about the reasons why girls get pregnant is sexual violence. Oftentimes you might want to blame the girl as wayward, This one, she can't wait, she lacks self-control. Those things are easy to say, but it ignores the fact that so many young girls too are being sexually abused, even by their family members, even by their parents, in few cases. But more importantly, many girls are also sexually abused in their relationship, in their intimate relationship, where the majority of abuse take place. So some of these girls are just dating to express themselves. They don't really want sex, but their boyfriend perhaps will spike their drink, and or even physically assault them. So those cases are also common among young people, and it's one of the reasons why they get pregnant. But again, ultimately, whether the sex is with consent or without consent, ability to use protection before and after, it's also key, but it's also lacking. And it kind of pains me, personally, because I feel that society is failing them. Because it's easy to say, oh, they lack knowledge, right? But society is failing them in that regards, because one effective intervention could be that you provide them with knowledge. If I'm having sex, I should have knowledge about to prevent pregnancy, right? But society say, oh, many people say if you provide them the information on how to prevent pregnancy, then we'll make them promiscuous and make them, go and have sex. But they're already having sex. So yeah, so it's a human rights issue. We all, it's our right to have access to information. And people should not burn their fingers before they initially get the information they need to protect themselves. So that's how we are feeling them. And we are not only feeling them in that regards, we're also feeling them when they get pregnant. When they get pregnant, we exclude them, we mock them, we shame them. Whether the pregnancies are as a result of sexual violence or not, we just automatically conclude in our mind that these are wayward girls and nobody wants to associate with them again. And that exclusion continues because many drop out of school. It means they forfeit important investments like education that could really empower them and prepare them for labor force and to escape poverty, more or less. So we are failing them twice, failing them by not providing them information to help them protect themselves, and also failing them when they eventually fall pregnant by not also investing in their education and empowerment. So yeah, it's a mix of so many issues, but I don't want the blame to, rest squarely on the girls. But we're going to say that parents, society, all of us have a role to play, and we are feeling them somewhat.
Really interesting. So, I mean, one thing that shouts to me immediately is the need for information. But what are the other things that we can do? Yes, and then when you speak about information, how do we tailor information for young people? Because obviously, the way you give information to a child would be different from how you would give information to an adult. And I also expect, or I think that it should be also, I mean, the adolescents should have a unique way in which they understand things. So what kind of recommendations are you making in terms of the kind of information that should be going to the adolescents regarding this issue? That's one. The other thing is, what else? What are the other practical policy or policy related recommendations that you make?
You see, so information can come from many sources, and even as you speak, some have access to information, maybe through their sisters, through their friends. Some may have access to disinformation or misinformation about contraceptive as well. So it's not as though they are totally shut out, even though the society is trying to shut them out completely, but with internet and speaking to friends, it's almost impossible to shut them out completely.
Right.
But information should be available, for example, in school, maybe for at certain age, because again, you can't teach a 7-year-old, 6-year-old certain things, right? Those ones are not dating; they are not expressing their sexuality, But again, you can teach them that if someone, touches certain part of their body, it's sexual molestation, and they should be free to report that. So there are things you can tailor to certain age group.
Okay.
But again, the government, for example, need to recognize the need for information. But that information could cover so many areas, issues, and topics. Issues of consent need perhaps to be taught to boys as early as possible, even before they start dating. Okay, so when we speak about sexuality education, for example, it needs to be comprehensive, it needs to be all-encompassing, it needs to start early, talking about same topics. But as soon as they reach a certain age where they actually date, then we need to educate them on all the methods available, right? Okay. Especially after sex contraception.
Okay.
That's one of the most important contraceptive methods. I'm not advocating for use of after sex contraception in quotes, because we want people to use condoms to be able to prevent HIV or STIs and pregnancy, right? Or we want people to use maybe pills or other methods so that they are not, drinking after sex contraception as though it's the regular contraception.
Right.
But for many girls that got pregnant, if they have knowledge of after sex contraception, they will be able to prevent pregnancy. And this sort of ties to my master's thesis, where I was, studying knowledge of after sex contraception among students, even at the university level. Perhaps these are older than your regular adolescents. But again, they lack knowledge of after sex contraception. Just over about 60% have some knowledge of after sex contraception, but you see some people that believe that if you use Ampiclox after sex to prevent pregnancy, you see people saying things like if you douche after that, you can bring out the sperm, after sex. Or you see people say things like, if you use, about 43 things I listed, because I did series of interviews. So I wrote a paper on it. I called it Use of Non-Emergency Contraceptive Pills as Emergency Contraceptive Pills. So the paper was published in BMC Public Health. It's probably my most read paper today. It's been read over 120,000 times. And again, it sort of even shows you that even at the university level, many girls still lack correct knowledge of after sex contraception. So you then tell yourself, these girls are raped and they don't want, you also know ourselves. If you are raped, they blame you. Yeah. What are you doing in the guy's house?
What did you wear?
Isn't it your boyfriend? Isn't it your boyfriend? What are you doing? What did you wear? People blame you. So because of that, people will not, report the rape. But again, even if they don't report, they still need to be able to protect themselves. And that's why the knowledge of after sex contraception comes.
Okay.
So such should happen. I did another paper recently just looking at knowledge of after sex contraception among adolescents, young adults, and you see adolescents have the least knowledge of after sex contraception. So it's about protection. It's about having correct knowledge of methods of protecting oneself.
Right.
So that's why I said it's a human rights issue. You should have knowledge of how to protect yourself.
Right.
So when society is not providing information to young people, they are failing them. That's just the way I see it. So we are failing them. So if I have a daughter, I have a daughter now, I probably need to educate in fact, I know of parents that took their daughters to clinic to get implants. To just say, this girl is now, mature, boys are going after her. I don't want any story. Let me just put her on implants. I know examples of parents like that. I don't know whether you know some, but I do know personally.
I personally don't. Okay. So what I want to ask you now is this: what opportunities are there for people in the lay public? So we've been discussing this from a researcher's perspective, you as the researcher, studying these issues. But for people who are not in the academia, for instance, what opportunities are there for them to get involved in issues like this? For instance, NGOs, I do know that there are many NGOs that focus on that, but what other opportunities are there for people to be involved?
Yeah, you see, for me, I've said somewhere else that we as researchers, we need to do more in terms of reaching out to the general public. Oftentimes we just do our research and publish in good journals. That's qualifying for career advancements.
Right.
But we do very little when it comes to engaging the public, right, or engaging, other key stakeholders.
Right.
So it's us that should create the opportunities,
right,
by even something as simple as engaging on Twitter, okay, or on Facebook or on LinkedIn,
on YouTube.
Just like you've started now on YouTube, just something like this. In fact, most of you will discover that at some point, most of your viewers are just lay people to just come and learn about things. So your platform is one platform, one opportunity, but more researchers need to, join, this sort of phenomenon and create more content for the general public. So it means the content have to really be relatable and not for this grammar that we're speaking
and our jargons.
Yeah, and then you can write for newspapers. You can write for newspapers. Again, it has to be plain language for newspapers or for men. And there are different. There are online platforms now, like the Conversation Africa, for example, is one platform that you can also share a summary of your research. Right. And the advantage of that platform is that it's already built over 5-6 years, and they have a lot of readers now. But again, even like as I said, even through your own social media accounts, you can begin to reach out to people to just say, okay, I've done this work, and this is what I found. And it's to surprise you that the general public are interested in it. For example, my paper on use of non-emergency contraception as emergency contraception has so many reads, and the reads are not necessarily coming from academics. They're coming from the general public. And then I saw people even discussing my paper on Twitter one day. And I'm like, what? Okay, this is interesting, So, and then I did another paper on transactional sex, put it on social media, and then it sort of gone viral, and people were just meeting on transactional sex. So yeah, those are areas we can do. We should be the ones to take our work to the public and not expect public to come to us.
Right.
So that's how the general public can engage. Right. We have to go. Yeah.
Right. It's been so interesting talking to you. I have learned personally, and I hope that viewers as well are learning from this conversation and they are understanding these issues better. To end our conversation on a light note, I'd like for us to play a game. You know how that you've been researching about girls getting pregnant and all of that? I want us to play a word game. So now, here are the rules. I'll give you 10 seconds to think about the game, the solution, right? And then I'll give you 1 minute to shout them out to me. So it's a word game. I want you to give me one word each related to pregnancy or giving birth. And I want you to give me one word each for each of the letter in girls. So in girls, we have GIRLS, so 5 words. So I want you to give me one word each for each of those letters, but I want the word to be related to girls getting pregnant or to pregnancy, childbirth. Is that clear?
Sure.
Okay, so like I said, I'll let you know when your time starts, but you have 10 seconds to think about it. and 1 minute to shout it out to me. So your 10 seconds starts now.
Okay. For G for gestation.
Oh, you mean you wow, that's interesting. Okay, so that was quick. So we'll now start your 1 minute starts now.
I for
sorry, I didn't get G. G is what?
Gestation.
Okay.
I for iron tablets. I know they use that to treat anemia.
All right.
R for I can't remember any word for R. Okay. L for labor. Go into labor, and then S for sex. That's what leads to sex.
You still have time to think about R. You still have time to think about R.
R for
anything related to sexual. Your time is up. I thought you would say reproduction. Okay, that's the word looking at you.
I was looking for reproduction. I just couldn't find one.
Yeah, but thank you so much, Dr. Anthony, for honoring my invitation and coming to share your insights and research with us on this platform. So for the viewers, if you need to connect with Dr. Anthony, I'll leave his contact details in the description box, so you can always contact him. He also has a podcast, and the podcast is My PhD Experience. On that platform, people who have had or who have done their PhD share their experiences, and you can learn from them. Real life experiences now, no sugarcoating. So well done, Dr. Anthony, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. You know, it's a pleasure. I encourage more of this platform because we researchers, we have to find a way to reach out to the general public. That's how to ensure more impact for our work. I'm glad that you are doing that now.
Right, thank you.
That I assist, and I'm happy you are filling the gap.
Right, thank you. All right, so until next time, my name is Chinwe. This is Research and Chats. Please subscribe if you haven't and leave me a feedback. Bye now.
Bye.